A pivotal change has occurred in the Dragon Ball Z universe with the death of everyone's favorite spiky-haired hero, Son Goku. With the Earth's greatest champion gone, the responsibility of protecting Earth was passed on to Gohan. However, the death of Goku was not only affecting those who he left behind, but has inadvertently unleashed a band of galactic warriors hell-bent on conquering the Earth. Will Gohan be able to defeat the new threat? Find out in our review of the 9th Dragon Ball Z movie, Bojack Unbound. Bojack Gone Wild.
Bojack Unbound was released to Japanese audiences on July 10th, 1993. If there's one thing that Dragon Ball has done right, it's the tournament saga. Most of Dragon Ball is centered around it, actually. This movie ups the ante a little bit by introducing this overly rich guy and his spoiled son who wants nothing more than to have a tournament where humans and aliens fight each other. To top it off, they want Mr. Satan to host the whole thing, as well as being the last opponent in the finals. Mr. Satan agrees, and before you know it, we are whisked away to a giant fighting arena in the middle of the ocean. Here we are introduced to a number of colorful fighters, ranging from sumo wrestlers to even wolfmen. Chi-Chi and Bulma cheer on Gohan and Future Trunks respectively. Yeah, Future Trunks. Why, you ask? Well, he destroyed the androids in Cell in his timeline, and instead of helping rebuild his post-apocalyptic home, he'd rather destroy Tien in a one-sided fistfight. But in all fairness, it's great to actually see Tien do something. And before you can say fan service, Roshi and Oolong appear to scope out the local tale. Boobs!
Fun fact!
Did you know this was the last movie for Roshi's Japanese voice actor, Kohei Mayuchi, who sadly passed away 2 years later?
The elimination round is really great, especially when Krillin is paired up with Piccolo. It eventually gets to the point where Piccolo gets bored and just flies away all pissed off. Yamcha even enters the tournament, but upon finding out that Gohan and Trunks have entered, he quickly just gives up. The final contestants are then gathered in a new area that transports each of them to a new location. Each of the fighters are meant to fight one of Mr. Satan's students, dressed up as a cheap-looking alien. But however, whenever Krillin arrives, he sees that his opponent is a gorgeous green-skinned woman who proceeds to whoop his ass with no prejudice. We also see that another of the contestants is defeated by another of these green-skinned warriors. He straight up kills him, freaking out everyone watching on the Megatron screen.
Trunks is soon attacked by one of these warriors as well. The fight here is really intense. Trunks' opponent uses a sword, which is something of a missed opportunity, as Trunks doesn't even have his sword on him. The swordsman then transforms and becomes a green warrior with red hair. This power grants him some great strength, that is until Trunks goes Super Saiyan and punches right through him. Trunks' victory is short-lived, as he is attacked from behind from the main villain himself, Bojack.
Fun fact!
Did you know that Bojack's Japanese voice actor, Tessho Genda, has voiced famous characters like younger Toguro from Yu Yu Hakusho, Terry Sanders from Mobile Suit Gundam the 8th MS Team, and more recently as Kurama the Nine-Tailed Fox from Naruto and Naruto Shippuden.
So who the hell is Bojack, you ask? Well, King Kai also happens to be the king of exposition in these movies. He lets Goku know that by accidentally killing him and destroying his planet, he caused a seal to break, which allowed Bojack and his goons to escape. In the past, Bojack was a ruthless thug who dreamed of conquering the galaxy. Seeing him as a threat, the Kai sealed him away eons ago. Gohan is eventually confronted by Bojack and his minions who make quick work out of Tien and Yamcha. What a shock. And then Trunks arrives and ends up almost being killed by Bojack until Vegeta shows up to save him to give him his most underused sword ever. Piccolo joins in on the fight and does what he does best, saving Gohan and then making a badass pose like Batman. Where are the Dragon Balls?
Over time, Bojack and his thugs take down all the Z fighters. Gohan has yet to unleash his Super Saiyan 2 abilities as Goku watches in anger. Somehow, someway, Goku is able to use instant transmission to go to Earth for a split second, just to deck Bojack in the face. He gives his son a small pep talk, which gets him out of his funk. He then transforms into his Super Saiyan 2 form and kills Bojack's men with one hit. It's pretty similar to when he kills the Cell Juniors during the Cell Saga. Bojack begins to shit his pants and even sacrifices his little lady friend in a last-ditch effort to kill Gohan. At this point, not even Bojack's lifeless, dull personality can stop Gohan now. The final standoff looks to be a Super Kamehameha, but Gohan just punches right through Bojack. Not exactly original considering the last 3 movies ended that way. And again, the Earth is saved, with Mr. Satan getting all the credit. And do Piccolo and Vegeta have some sort of secret stalker meeting or something? It's pretty weird.
So what did SuperKamiGuru9000 think of movie 9, Bojack Unbound? Well, this is actually one of my favorite go-to movies. I think that the tournament saga in the beginning is really cool, and seeing like Tien and Future Trunks fight is something that you just really never get to see, but in like fan depictions of the series, that fight never happens, and I think it's cool to get to see some of our favorite characters fight. And yeah, you know, Yamcha pretty much knew he had no chance, and he never would in a tournament ever again. So overall, like, the tournament stuff that happens in the beginning of the movie is something that I always found like really interesting and really memorable, and it just got this movie off on the right foot. And also the set pieces in the like second half of the movie are really cool, like where Gohan goes with all the toys, and Trunks goes with all the like field and that like valley, and Krillin, even though he gets his ass kicked immediately, is like in some like lava pit. Like, all these set pieces are really cool, and you know, it kind of gets stale when they get to the city. Yeah, this is kind of where they have their final battle, and they need buildings to explode and things to show off their power and like things to slam into. And then when you come to like the end of the movie where Gohan makes his Super Saiyan 2 transformation, it sort of just seemed like you were out of time, and the movie just kind of had to wrap itself up, and it did in a really stereotypical manner. Bojack didn't even fight Gohan, really. Once he turned Super Saiyan 2, he was so far ahead of him, just like in the Cell Saga, it wasn't even a fight anymore. It was pretty much just waiting for Gohan to go kill him.
Bojack Unbound is kind of like a hamburger from McDonald's. While you might be able to get it really, really quick and it'll fill you up for a very small amount of time, in the long run, you're really not going to remember it too much, and it's really not all that special. It's not exactly that high-quality hamburger that you really want. And that's what the problem with this movie is. It sort of left me wanting. Now, I do like a lot of the ideas that the movie uses. I like the fact that it sort of takes the tournament saga idea and sort of runs with it. Because if there's one thing that Dragon Ball has always done really, really well, it's the tournament saga, because they always introduce a lot of really colorful and interesting characters and fighters, and they do that in the first half of the movie, even though a lot of these extra characters are pretty weak in comparison to our main characters. Just getting to see them is really funny and really interesting. Like I said, there's friggin' Wolfmen in this movie, and that's just awesome. But it really gets kind of strange towards the second half of the film when we're finally introduced to the villains of the movie itself, the Galactic Warriors. And you know what? I just don't care for them. They're just way too one-dimensional. They don't really have anything special about them. And Christian, I do like the fact that you brought up the fact that they fight in these really interesting arenas, like the weird toy box world that Gohan fights in. I like that. The problem is they don't use any of it. They fight in those arenas for maybe a couple minutes, and they just sort of go away and they never use them again. And not only that, but none of these Galactic Warriors really seem to have any names at all, so you can't really identify with any of them. And to make matters worse, they just sort of appear out of nowhere. You know, Krillin just happens to run into one of them, and then we're just told that they escaped. It's kind of like in Dragon Ball Evolution, and I can't believe I'm making this comparison because Dragon Ball Evolution fucking sucks ass, but it's kind of the same thing. The villain just sort of appears and he escapes. How does he escape? You don't really get to see that happen. You get a little explanation that, you know, Goku killing the King Kai and his planet and everything sort of helped, but I would have liked a much bigger explanation as to how they got out, maybe what their bigger motives are, and why did they decide to just go straight to Earth? I really have no idea why. There's zero motivation behind any of these characters. They're bad because they're bad. And also, this is just a crime against humanity. This is a tournament movie, and you decide not to use Master Roshi, especially when the voice actor is very close to possibly dying. This could be like his final last hurrah, and they did nothing with it. This could have been something really interesting. They could have incorporated a lot of some other classic DBZ characters to fight in this. Instead, we basically get some stock battles, and that's the way it is. But there are some redeeming qualities to this. Like I said, the first half of the film is very entertaining, it's very funny, and even though some of the battles are short-lived, I think that Tien and Trunks is probably the highlight of the movie. And that's kind of a shame. But what I can say is that the story is finally starting to move along. We're getting closer to the end of Dragon Ball Z, so things are definitely bound to change. And this is the last time that you're going to get to see Gohan in his teenage state, the way he is in his Super Saiyan 2 form. And it's never going to be the same after this again. And I hope you're, used to these meat-headed villains, because we're getting back into a Broly movie in the next review. That's right. Join us next time as we review the 10th Dragon Ball Z movie, Broly: The Second Coming. It's going to be kind of a controversial one, but it'll be fun, guys. We promise. And it won't be as bad as Bio Broly, which is right after it.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps. And until next time, SuperKamiGuru9000 out.